The time is precisely 6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe and read by Chandima Veerakorn. Headlines. The Prime Minister says $15 billion of investment will be attracted through the new port city. Minister Rohitha Abegunawardena says the government is performing its responsibilities and duties amid the COVID pandemic. Medicine sent by post to patients who are attending clinics of the National Eye Hospital. An individual arrested for publishing fake news over social media. In news overseas, companies and universities get involved in Japan's vaccination rollout. In sports news, the second edition of the Lanka Premier League will be held during July and August. Local stories in detail. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says that steps will be taken to attract at least $15 billion of investment by next 5 years through the new port city. The Prime Minister mentioned this addressing the inauguration ceremony on the second day of the summit organised by Sri Lanka Investment Forum. The Prime Minister said that the economy has been severely affected due to the measures taken to protect the people from the pandemic. Expressing his views online, head of the National Operations Centre to Prevent the Spread of COVID-19, Army Commander General Shavindra Silva said that the government is trying to maintain the economy at a competitive level amid the pandemic. Minister Rohitha Abegunawardena said in Parliament today that the government is performing its responsibilities and duties amid the COVID pandemic. 2 million have been inoculated. The second dose of the Sinopharm vaccine is being given. Minister Rohitha Abegunawardena said that the government is committed to protect the people and save the country from the pandemic. MP Vijitha Herath said that there are many shortcomings at COVID treatment centres. A large number of students are facing difficulties. Therefore, he said that a television channel should be launched to provide education to students. Taking part in the debate, Health Minister Pavitra Banyarachi said that the opposition has no right to question vaccination and COVID control. MP Ranjit Madhava Bandara said that people are facing difficulties since travel restrictions are not being implemented properly. He pointed out that harvest could be reduced due to the banning of chemical fertilizer. Taking part in the debate, Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage said that the opposition should act in a more responsible manner during a national problem. He emphasized that the vaccination program is taking place successfully. He assured not to allow a fertilizer shortage during the Maha season. State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa said that the use of organic fertilizer was not a sudden decision but implemented on expert advice. He said that the mechanism is being prepared under the guidance of experts on the usage of organic fertilizer. Steps have been taken to send medicine by post to patients who are attending clinics of the National Eye Hospital. Director of the hospital, Dr. Ajit Dantanarayana, said that the patients who expect to get their medicine by post should give their clinic file number, address and telephone number by calling over the phone number allocated to the respective eye specialist. The relevant telephone numbers have been published in the website of the eye hospital. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Scan the Lanka QR code and make your payments with People's Pay mobile payment app from People's Bank.
Continuing with the local stories, police have requested the public to refrain from publishing fake news supporting and encouraging either personally or in an organised manner over social media. The police headquarters said that strict legal action will be taken against such persons. The CID has arrested a person for publishing fake news on a cyber attack. He said he has been accused of publishing fake news, stating that a major cyber attack has taken place on government websites, including the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. State Minister Kanchana Wijayasekara says that people should not be frightened to consume fish. He said that 16 square kilometers of the sea has been banned for fishing. The State Minister said that people are hesitant to consume fish due to the incident involving the Express Pearl ship. He pointed out NARA has announced that this incident should not have an impact on fish consumption. 52,695 families in 10 districts have been affected by the inclement weather. 5 deaths have been reported, 5 have been injured, and 1 person has gone missing. 20 houses have been completely damaged, while 1,039 have been partially damaged. The Building Research Organization said that 23,164 are at welfare centers. When implementing the 4-lane elevated highway project on the new Kalani Bridge to Athrugiriya, the government has decided to provide alternative settlement facilities for 1,100 families who live on acquired lands. The decision has been taken at a cabinet meeting. The elevated highway project was launched by the Prime Minister yesterday at the Temple Trees with a small group of invited guests using technology while adhering to health regulations. Ports and Shipping Minister Rohita Abegunawardena, along with the Trade Minister, has secured cabinet approval to release confiscated essential items held by the custom authorities to the Satasa retail chain to be sold at concessionary rates to consumers during the pandemic. The custom authorities hold unauthorized imports of essential items. Under the normal practice, they are auctioned later to private traders. The government expects to launch a pilot project on manufacturing organic fertilizer at divisional secretariat area levels in the northern central province. The aim is to produce organic fertilizer needed for the Maha season. To end the local news, the headlines again. The Prime Minister says $15 billion of investment will be attracted through the new port city. Minister Rohita Abegunawardena says the government is performing its responsibilities and duties amid the COVID pandemic. Medicine sent by post to patients who are attending clinics of the National Eye Hospital. An individual arrested for publishing fake news over social media. That ends local news.
Nobody tells time like this. So why do you still pay with cash when you have People's Pay mobile app from People's Bank? Scan the Lanka QR code and make your payments with People's Pay mobile payment app from People's Bank.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
On the main news story, the COVID vaccination program in the Kagala district will commence tomorrow. State Minister Kanika Herath said that all measures are in place to commence the vaccination program at 67 Gramaniladari divisions of the Kagala district. 50,000 doses of Sinopharm vaccines have been received for the first phase of the program. The COVID vaccine will be given tomorrow to state officials, including field officers. Persons above 60 years of age living in corona risk areas will also be given the vaccine tomorrow and on Sunday. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight. National Dengue Eradication Unit says that people should pay attention to prevent breeding of dengue mosquitoes. There is a high probability of breeding dengue mosquitoes due to prevailing rainy weather condition. Therefore, the Dengue Eradication Unit has requested the public to keep their gardens and environment clean. Moving on to world news, the headlines. Companies and universities get involved in Japan's vaccination rollout. Maldives Foreign Minister elected next UN General Assembly President. The US pipeline hacking ransom payment recovered. Health officials in Japan are trying to speed up the nation's vaccination rollout by involving workplaces and universities. The government provides the vaccines, but company and university administrations must organize the medical staff and arrange suitable facilities to inoculate workers and students. The next stage of the national vaccination drive starts later this month. So far, shots have been largely limited to priority groups. Maldives Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid has been elected as the president of the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly that will start in September. Abdullah Shahid received 143 votes during the election. The president of UNGA needs 97 votes in the 193-member strong assembly. The post of president of UNGA is voted on a yearly basis by all 193 members of the core UN body. The tenure of the president of UNGA lasts for 1 year and is considered prestigious due to the authority the person wields over the working of the General Assembly. The U.S. Justice Department says it has recovered most of the cryptocurrency ransom paid to hackers by one of the country's largest pipeline networks. A Russia-based hacker group known as DarkSide was responsible for a cyber attack last month on the Colonial Pipeline. The attack caused a shutdown of operations and fuel was unable to flow through pipelines spanning southern and eastern regions of the United States. To end the world news, the headlines again. Companies and universities get involved in Japan's vaccination rollout. Maldives Foreign Minister elected next UN General Assembly President. The US pipeline hacking ransom payment recovered. That ends world news. We move on to development news. 17 dilapidated roads in the Akmimana electoral division will be developed under the project to lay asphalt on 100,000 provincial roads with the aim of improving transport facilities of rural communities. 27 million rupees will be spent on the project. And on sports, Sri Lanka Cricket says that the second edition of the Lanka Premier League will be held during July and August 2021 as earlier announced. Accordingly, the tournament will be held from 30th July to 22nd August 2021. The inaugural edition of the LPL, Sri Lanka's topmost domestic T20 league with an international flavour, was conducted last year at the MRICS Hambantota with the participation of 5 teams. Health protocols for the second edition of the LPL will be planned based on the directions of the Ministry of Health. The International Cricket Council today announced the nominees for May's ICC Player of the Month Awards to recognise the best performances from both male and female cricketers across all forms of international cricket. Fans can now vote on icc-cricket.com/awards for their favourite players of the month for May. Praveen Jayavikrama among the nominees of ICC Player of the Month is for May. That ends sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
And on business news, the government is gearing to list several state-owned leisure properties through the special purpose vehicle Selandiva Leisure on the Colombo Stock Exchange by end of this month. Selandiva Leisure, which comes under Selandiva Investments, consists of Grand Hyatt, Grand Oriental Hotel, Hilton, and several other prime real estate properties. That ends business news.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And on economic news, All economic centres will be open tomorrow as well to distribute essential food items to the public without a shortage during travel restrictions. The government has requested the traders to follow health guidelines strictly. All economic centres were open today for wholesale trade. That ends economic news.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasir, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And finally, on the weather report, the Met Department says showers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces and in the Galle, Mathura, Nuwara Eliya and Kandy districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at a few places in Nuwara and eastern provinces during the evening or at night. Fairly heavy falls, about 75 millimeters, can be expected at some places in the Sabaragamuwa province and in the Galle, Mathura, Nuwara Eliya and Kandy districts. Wind speed can increase up to 40 kilometers per hour at times in the western slope of the Central Hills, northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in the Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. That ends the weather report.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasir, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And to end this bulletin of news, the headlines again. The Prime Minister says $15 billion of investment will be attracted through the new port city. Minister Rohita Abegunawardena says the government is performing its responsibilities and duties amid the COVID pandemic. Medicine sent by post to patients who are attending clinics of the National Eye Hospital. An individual arrested for publishing fake news over social media. In news overseas, companies and universities get involved in Japan's vaccination rollout. In sports news, the second edition of the Lanka Premier League will be held during July and August. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.